a lot of questions to do to you today.
Well, Claudia, thank you for having me and spending time with me. For those who are watching, I want to make sure they know just how nice you are. I was engaged with you in a lovely conversation on Instagram that caused me to just say, let's take this time together. So I'm grateful to be here.
Oh, thank you. Well, my first question is about you and CX, but I really want to know when and how CX has become a very interesting thing to the companies.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing to me to watch this journey. So I've been on whatever this CX roller coaster ride for 20 years or more. I was actually a part of a hospital system where we talked about it as customer service, and we focused on making sure everyone had the same type of experience, and we would have a template that would tell people what to say at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end of conversations. It was not very authentic, and it was very scripted, very, mechanical. But over time, thanks, I think, a lot to a book called The Experience Economy by James Gilmore and Joe Pine,
Joe
things really
Pine.
opened up. And is a really good friend of mine now, but in the days when he first started writing about it, I was working with Starbucks, and he, in his
Okay.
book, spent a lot of time talking about Starbucks. He talked about how economies changed from a time when people would just pick coffee beans to times where people would prepare the coffee and sell it for very little money. And then it would move up to Starbucks, which was staging a cup of coffee inside of an experience. And he wrote about how much more money you could make if you sold Starbucks coffee than if you sold coffee, in a gas station somewhere. So it was interesting to me that I was working with a company that was on this journey to experience. At the same time, he and his colleague were breaking ground on talking about it. And because they talked about it so well as economists, I think a lot of business leaders said, what is the economics of wrapping your products in an experience? And that's kind of where I think the interest began. And the last 25 or so years have been just a wild ride of brands trying to differentiate themselves from their competition, not through the products or services, because there's only so much you can do there, but by the way they wrap them in emotion.